Hello and good afternoon, guys. Welcome to MK Convenience Brokerage. My name is Mohammed. In this video, I'm going to help you guys prepare for the written test of the DMV, the basic learner's permit for driving a car, a smaller vehicle. So, with all of you, let's get started. Down a little bit. Alright, let's go to page 3. So, a lot of times when you go to the DMV, a lot of people, well, the first thing you need to do before you even take the learner's permit test, you need to study. That's common sense. You need to study for the thing. The test is not that easy, but it's also not that difficult. It's in the medium range. Now make sure you do study well. This video will help you as a refresher, but if you do study on your own a little bit, understand the basic questions, the test will be a breeze for you. When you first come to the DMV, in any DMV in the New York State area, you have to fill out the application. It's called the MV44 application. That application you have to fill out. They ask you about the organ donor question. You do not have to fill the organ donor part out. A lot of people ask questions like that at the DMV or anywhere else, or even they ask me. They could ask you that, do you want to be an organ donor? It's completely volunteer. You don't have to. If you do, you will have a heart next to your license that shows that you're going to be an organ donor. God forbid, one day you die. So keep that in mind. If you want to enroll, you may do so as well. You can enroll by mail and anywhere else. There's no cost to the donor family at all. You don't have to pay for anything. You can have your name removed at the registry at any time you want. You can tell your family members if they would like to, enrolled in it. It's up to them completely. So, keep that in mind. So, we're gonna have multiple parts on the booklet that I'm about to give you guys a refresher on the video, should I say. I will have multiple parts throughout it, so please check out my channel, and obviously you'll be able to find out what the part is. So part 1 is gonna be information for drivers and vehicles owners. If you're gonna be, chapter 1 is gonna be driving licenses, what type of license you're gonna have. When you apply your first license, your learner's permit, and the road test, it's basically giving you the rundown on what's gonna happen. And obviously, chapter 2 is gonna be going in depth. Chapter 3 is gonna be owning a vehicle and everything. So this is basically the table of contents. So let's go to the main part, obviously. Alright, information for driver and vehicle owners, chapter 1. Obviously, you need a driving license to drive anywhere in the United States. You could have a learner's permit. That doesn't mean you could drive a car by yourself. You do need a person that's also a registered license owner in order to drive a vehicle in New York City. If that person does not have a license, you cannot drive a vehicle in New York City area. That you also need a license, a valid Class D license. When you get the permit, it's going to tell you have a permit. It's not going to tell you have a license until you pass the road test. So keep that in mind. That's very, very, important. Driver who usually moves here and turn in out of their state license will have 30 days of becoming a permanent resident. Meaning that, let's say, for example, you come to Florida. If you come to New York City and you want to surrender it, you just have to show that you've been here for 30 days, basically. You cannot have 2 driving licenses. It's illegal. To have a New York City license and a Florida license, stuff like that. You can't do that. But I've seen people do that. It's also illegal. You're not supposed to. It is a crime to forge also motor vehicle documents as well. You want to go. You want to drive peacefully rather than knowing you have like 5 different licenses. You don't want to do that. It's against the law. Now, types of licenses. This is an important part. When you learn about the basics, they also teach you about the commercial side, bit of it. You get the taste of the commercial side as well. In New York State, there's different commercial classes when it comes to driving. There's Class A for tractor trailers, Class B for school bus and dump trucks. Class C is like the small school bus and access ride that you see. Class D is obviously normal cars. Class RV is common sense for the RVs. Class M is for motorcycles. Obviously DJ is for driver junior. If you're under the age of 16 and you want to drive a vehicle that's 10,000 pounds or more. or a tow vehicle, should I say, as well, at 3,000 pounds. You also need a license for that as well. To keep that in mind. Um, non-CDL Class C is minimum age is 18. You need to, in commercial vehicle you need to be 18, obviously, which is A, B, and C. You could tow you could drive a vehicle up to 26,000 pounds or tow a vehicle with up to 10,000 pounds, and basically that's Class C. You need to know the numbers. They might ask you that question. You need to know what's the difference between these classes. Class E is for people that drive TLC, limos, green cab, yellow cab. That's all Class E. So keep that in mind. In order to get those classes, you need to get a Class D first. Motorcycle, obviously, you need to drive a motorcycle license in order to have a Class M license. Class MJ, again, it's like the driver junior, motorcycle junior. Your minimum age is 16, and it allows you to drive a motorcycle and mopeds. You're also limited with where, when, and with whom you can drive. So obviously, you do have restrictions on that. The enhanced driver license is, it's basically if you plan to go to the border of the Mexico or Hawaii or anywhere else within the United States territories, you could use the enhanced driver license, which is basically like your passport number is on the back of the license. In a way, that becomes basically your passport rather than carrying a passport card or passport, and you could actually travel. Real ID. The Real ID is a federal law passed by Congress resulting from the 9/11 Commission recommendation that established specific federal requirement for state-issued driving license, permit, and ID cards to be acceptable for certain federal purposes. Beginning May 3rd, 2023, every air travel flying within the United States will need represent a Real ID or an enhanced driving license, or bring in another acceptable form of identification. If you do not have a license, you can get a Real ID as well. So enhanced driving license, hence it says enhanced driving license. Once you have a license, you can enhance it as well. The Real ID is basically, you can put it like that. If you don't have if you just want a regular license, just have your picture on it. Obviously, it is not gonna say you drive or anything. You could get that as well. Obviously, I already went the RV endorsement, the personal use vehicle or endorsement is required to operate a recreation vehicle or rental vehicle used to transport personal household goods when the vehicle is over 26,000 pounds and 40 feet in length. This endorsement is available to Class D and E licensed drivers. To get an R endorsement, submit a completed application for driving license or ID card, and state and country you pay a permit fee, which is valid for maximum two road tests, and pass a road test with the size and type of vehicle you drive in. No written test is required for the road test. Driver who are at least 21 years of age. Basically, it's saying that if you want to drive an RV, there's no written test for that. You're just gonna take the road test, which is going to be the road test for this. When you apply for your first license, well, when you apply for your first license, you need to know what you're doing. Obviously, like I said, you need to go and you need to fill out the MV44 form, which is listed over here. You will take a vision test, a written test, and you are going to pay the application fee. And obviously, you do need a 5-hour pre-licensing course and pass a road test. There's a 5-hour course and a 6-hour defensive driving course. You need to take the 5-hour course. Make sure you tell the people you need the 5-hour course, not the 6-hour one. So you need to be familiar with that part. Okay. Let's go down for more information. Proof of identity and age. When you do go to the DMV, they will ask you for information. So besides filling out the form, you do need to show who you are because you don't have a license, especially it's the first time. So make sure you do go there and you show some type of proof, such as your credit cards at certain points. If you have a library card, voter registration card, if you have the New York State ID. I don't know if you know the one. There's a New York State ID as well. Your passport card, stuff like that. It has to match up a certain amount of points in order for you to show who you are. Without that, you cannot take the road test. Don't go in thinking that you don't have it. You need to have, I believe, your proof must total up to 6 or more points. And if you don't have that, then I believe if somebody's with you, your mom and dad or somebody relative, they could show certain points, but you also need to show who you are. Your school ID works as well. For those of you that have school IDs, make sure you use that for your advantage. Each document below has a value of 6 points, so they'll run it down with points. New York State photo identification card, such as, let's say for example, you have your license. You need to take a road test. Apologize. You have your license. You pass your road test. You have your Class D or DJ license. Not a learner's permit. Even a learner's permit actually works. You have that. You need to, let's say for example, in the future, you're thinking, you know what, I want to take a commercial Class B license for the school bus. I want to be a school bus driver. Well, guess what? You don't need to bring any other proof besides your license. Once you have your license, that's 6 points automatically. Each document below has a value of 4 points. Obviously, if you have a passport card, that's automatically like 4 points. So keep that in mind. Foreign passports are like 3 points. Refugee travel documents, re-entry permits, permanent resident identification card is 3 points. So these are points. Each document below has a point of 2 points. Photo driving license issued by another United States jurisdiction. Obviously, that's 2 points. Your vehicle certificate title, your vehicle board registration document, your high school ID with report card, your U.S. college ID with report card, your New York State professional license, New York State or New York City pistol permit. Each document below has 1 point. Valid credit card, valid cash, pre-printed name and signature, canceled check, bank, employee, Supreme Court cashing. What else? Insurance policy, U.S. health insurance, U.S. utility bill, high school W-2 form, must include social security number, U.S. union card, veteran assets. So these are all 2 points. 1 point. I apologize. Proof of age. Your passport is a proof of age. Your birth certificate is a proof of age. So certain things are proof of age. You can use that. Vision and written tests. I already said that they will take a vision test. So you must have a 20/40 vision, at least in one eye, without corrective lenses. If you're gonna pass a vision test, you will not pass. An automatic knowledge test. Class D knowledge tests are offered in multiple languages and can be taken via touchscreen. Before, it was on paper. Now it's on computer. Some people might like it, some people don't. So I'm not sure what type of person you are. If you like that, then computer's up your screen. You might have an advantage. Before you begin, students who are at least age of 15 can take the written test. So there is an age limit. You have to be at least age 15 to take the written test of the DMV Online Knowledge Center application. The test is given at Participation High School across New York State. The test is given in an easy-to-use format, is offered in English and Spanish. Once you do pass the test, they will give you a receipt over there showing that you've passed the test. It's going to be a temporary receipt showing that that's going to be a permit receipt, obviously. Once you do that, that's going to be kind of like your permit before they actually give you your license. Because remember, once you pass the test from the DMV, you also need to take the road test, to schedule for the road test and everything. So if you pass the written test, don't think that you could drive a car. That's basically authorizing you to drive a vehicle with somebody that's also next to you. That will be used for driving in for the next 15, 20, 30 days until you get your license where you live. The learner's permit and road test. Obviously, once you pass the vision and written test, you pay your fees. You will be issued your learner's permit, like I said before, which means you'll be able to take. Your driver has to be a licensed supervised person that is 21 years or older, has a license valid for a type of vehicle that you're driving for. So let's say if I have a Class A license and you have a Class D, yes, I have the highest ranking license, meaning that I could drive a tractor trailer, I could drive any vehicle, A, B, C, D, and E. So if you have a D, I have an A, don't think I can't drive. You will get in trouble because you're driving with me. If I believe so, I have the highest ranking license. You'll also contact DMV to clarify if you think you guys want to ask more information. I believe they will say the same exact thing. But having a Class A license, which is a tractor trailer, you could drive a school bus, you could drive anything at all because you went through the process. Going to the next page. So these are regional restrictions for a junior permit. Obviously, there's New York State 5 boroughs, Long Island, and upstate. Usually the timings are 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. You must drive only under the immediate supervision of your parent, guardian person. So basically, these are for restrictions. So if you are gonna have a driving junior license, this chart is for you. Let's see. Medical appointments. For those of you that will be taking CDL licenses A, B, and C, and sometimes D as well, you do need medical appointments. What that is a lot of times if you're driving, uh, or for those people that actually are taking medicines as well. We'll talk about the A, B, and C's later. A lot of times people take medications, like they take blood pressure medications, diabetic medications, and everything. So a lot of times what DMV will do will ask you, like, listen, do you have any type of medication histories and stuff like that that might cause you to defer to drive a vehicle or anything like that. And obviously if you want to let them know, you could let them know it should be on the application. If it's not on the application, then obviously it's none of the concerns. But if you feel like you don't take the medication, you might get hazy, and when you're driving a vehicle, it's always best to let people know that, listen, I do have a medication history. Um, it can affect me, so this is what's going on. So keep that in mind. For the commercial vehicles, I might as well go with it. If you're driving a Class A and B and C vehicle, and if you're trying to go out of state, not in the New York State area, going to, let's say, Pennsylvania, Jersey, you're driving big vehicles or even small vehicles, you do need what's the word? You do need a medical certification I believe every year or two. That medical certification is basically you're gonna go to a doctor. The doctor has to check out your heart. They have to check out your kidneys. Urine test and everything. So keep that in mind. That's very important when you do that. So they will give you a certification, a small paperwork saying that you're certified to drive. If you just want to stay in the city only, you don't need that though. Keep that in mind. Driving with a junior's learner permit. Again, like I said, you have to have a person that more than 21 or more to drive with you. Obviously, as long as that person's with you, you should be okay. Uh, that's what it is, basically. Preparing for the road test, well, guess what? I would say if you have a parent or guardian next to you, practice as much as you can on a safer road. Go to a place where it's empty. A lot of people when they take the road test, sometimes they make a mistake in parallel parking, broken U-turn, stuff like that. So keep in mind whenever you go to take the road test, and you need to practice as much as you can. And make sure, my word of advice, make sure you take the same vehicle. Do not change vehicles. You want to get used to a vehicle you're used to it. If I'm driving a 2012 Toyota Camry, and on the day of the road test, I take a 2021 Porsche, I'm not gonna know what everything about the Porsche because I haven't been driving it. So take the vehicle you're most comfortable with. I don't care what type of vehicle it is, how bad it looks. Your goal is to pass, and I believe if you keep on going with the same vehicle, because your hand's used to that vehicle, you know what you're making a left, you're making a right, you're parallel parking, you're learning every single part of it. So if you know exactly that this is what you're doing, then you should be okay. Keep that in mind. You need to know that. I already went to the driving school requirements as well, the 5 hour and 6 hour. So they wanted a 5 hour course when you're gonna go there. But obviously, always check with the DMV what they say because they keep constantly changing rules. You don't want to take a 5 hour course when they started to ask for 6 hours. So I always recommend keeping up with them. Driver education, again, it's kind of repetitive. This is just a basic information the person needs to know before they take the test. But, you need to learn it as well for future. Road test could be scheduled. For those of you that are interested, road test could be scheduled either by going to the website, dmv.gov/road test, or you could use a telephone. If you live in the 5 boroughs, you could take the road test anywhere in the 5 boroughs. Now, you live in Brooklyn, do you need to take that test in Brooklyn? Not really. You could go to Staten Island. If you feel Queens and Staten Island is open roads, less traffic, I would say go for it. If you're more comfortable in Brooklyn, you can go for it in Brooklyn. It's up to you wherever you want to go. Personally, I like no traffic. If I'm gonna go there the first time, I want to be relaxed. So I noticed Staten Island is a good place for me to relax when I go there. There's less traffic. It's much better. I have more opportunities to parallel park and everything. I'd rather go to Staten Island. But again, that's my opinion. First opinion. I want to go to a place where I'm most comfortable with. So keep that in mind. Obviously, after the road test, once you pass, you know you're gonna get your license. The DMV instructor at that time will tell you if you pass or not. They take out points. That's gonna be another video of what to do when you do take the road test. But this is just a basic informational test. The written test, I'm helping you prepare. Let's go to the main points again. The regional restriction for junior licenses. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna finish from here for part 1. It has a lot of pages. This is just an informational part of the section. We will try to go in the main part of the rolling rules regulation. But if you guys do have any other questions and comments or concerns, please comment, like, subscribe. I'll try my best to help you out as much as possible to clarify any confusion you guys have. Again, this part was just informational only, trying to give you information on the vehicles. Doing a recap, you need to learn the basics. We will go into the part, you will learn about the rules and regulations like stop signs, red lights, railroad crossings, and stuff like that. Sometimes they do ask you questions that if you're driving a school bus, can you drive this vehicle? You need to learn certain things. Hence why this informational section was here for you guys to know what it is and what the rules are. With that being said, thank you again guys for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This is part 1. I will have part 2 shortly. Thank you again guys, and hopefully you guys have a wonderful day.